field of veterans. This has been such a massive shakeup for BLG that it is going to be difficult. You're trying to find your identity for the team, not only with the men that are on the Rift with you, but also when Fofo gets swapped in, what happens? If Weiwei comes back, what does that look like? You're trying to find an identity across several different players, and that makes it incredibly hard to function in. So we have to see what the plan is as they start to go in. BLG, though, still going back to the game one plan of banning a hell of a lot of the AD carries. Lucian going to be banned away this time, though, as well. So maybe we just get the Wukong first rotation here.
Yeah, interesting enough, like we said, Asim didn't really have a great KDA in game one, but it was a very good pressure point for the side of LGD. They got so much off of the back of the fact that Rise and Crisp just couldn't move forward. They couldn't really get things going for them on that bot side, which led to Dragons, led to Invades, led to so many different pressure points available to the side of LGD. But now BLG, recognizing that they've got themselves 2 picks for themselves, they're going to go for the Gnar. So the Gnar has been picked up here by Red side a little bit on a very high priority. It does feel like it has got options, you know, to kind of counter it. So right now you're kind of seeing yourself as, what is the way you work around this here for LGD?
And that's kind of just been throwing down the gauntlet against Chalitza, going, look, I don't think you can play these answers. I like Chalitza, not an Aurelia player, and kind of answering that exact sentiment. Going towards the Sejuani here. Probably see the AD carry picked up here as well. Always the option to go towards the Senna here for Jinjiao if you would like to. Sorry, for Asim, but okay, actually not going to go towards. They're going to get the Silas instead, so solidifying completely their top half of the map, which means that we'll have to see what the answer for Fofo is here. Because Fofo has offered into a lot of late game scaling. I don't think the Ahri is where you want to go, so maybe he goes Azir. I actually really like Kassadin into the Silas matchup as well, just because I think you get to scale really well into the later portion of the game, but it is just going to be the Azir here.
Yeah, Azir for Fofo. Again, this is just his most played champion of all time. It is pure comfort for the man in the mid lane of BLG, and they've locked in their solo laners very, very early on. We actually see this, the kind of basically all the top side picked up here, as you have got the Sejuani here for Chalitza, and of course, as you mentioned, the Silas for G. So we'll see what ends up working out here for the side of BLG. They can maybe focus in onto supports, which is exactly what they're going to do. They're actually going to ban away the Rakan here, so not willing to let that one go over to the side of LGD, as maybe they want to try and pick something with a little bit more safety in their own side.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the pick across here. So support's being banned away by BLG because they know they get first rotation and AD carries, and LGD are going to ban away AD carries because they know the chances are BLG are going to take their AD first and then look to take their support second. So trying to limit the pool here of what can be a little bit difficult to use. I will say, I feel like for BLG, maybe banning the Senna is your best bet though, because when I look at Rise and Crisp, 2 new people coming into the team, trying to work in a team with a Senna and function like a Senna Tam Kench lane can actually be a little bit weird to try and operate just off the bat. So instead, I wouldn't mind seeing them try and ban the Senna so that then Asim and Jinjiao don't take like a Senna Tam Kench, because when you got so many beefcakes on the top side of the map, the healing and everything else that can come through will make it very difficult for BLG to deal with that squad.
Yeah, absolutely. But they do ban away the Draven. Don't want that pressure to come in. There's the Senna from LGD. So they ban it away on their own side. So we might just see, I'd be totally honest, with the, 1, 2, 6 AD carry bans coming in. This is probably just going to be a Jinx to Felios trade-off.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, I don't see any other world. I was thinking maybe we see something a little bit funky, like you could always open up with a Ziggs or that kind of thing, but...
Or a Jhin. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, Jhin has been like pretty popular at the moment. I think he's got a fairly high win rate in solo queue as well. But
yeah, he's kind of creeping back up.
Yeah, I think from LGD's perspective, maybe you could go towards the Jhin, because again, I think enabling this front line is actually going to be great. You've got 3 melee carries that enable Sejuani passive. Yeji can do a ton of damage on the Silas. You got decent damage from Shadow as well, but they're just going to go towards the Jinx. Thresh going to be the lockup beside it as well, just to keep them safe from things like Finn and the Viego as well, which I think is just fine. And maybe Braum could also be an answer here if you want to go towards that side of the equation.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's going to be... Just see if they can maybe get some priority there. They know it's going to be a Tam Kench. Could go towards maybe even something else a little bit more ridiculous other than the Lulu. I quite like a Thresh, but I will say that the the chances of catching a catfish are pretty damn high, so they do end up going with the Lulu, and that just kind of enables the style that I think would work better for LGD, giving something to enable things like the Sylas and the Wukong to be able to carry a little bit harder, as BLG finally fulfill the prophecy that we were talking about. They pick up the Aphelios.
I really like the draft that LGD have here, though. I think you've got a ton of smart, like great engage tools with Chalitza and the Wukong, and a ton of ways to enable the Sejuani passive stacking and also enable Yeji. And Asum in theory should be pretty untouched in the backside, especially with this Lulu by its side. So I think across the board LGD, stronger mid-game, stronger ability to play towards Rift Tower on the top side of the map, great late game scaling with this Jinx Lulu and even just Lulu in general for the rest of the team. So I think LGD, at least on draft spec, looking good coming into this game.
Yeah, I think LGD got themselves pretty much everything they wanted, and definitely feels like a good setup for themselves to be able to try and take down their second win of the split. Again, it's a team that really is struggling to try and kind of word those series wins together. And right now, we kind of, they played less series. I think they've played equal with RNG. They're going to have quite a setup in the back half of the split. Remember, you have to play all 16 teams. So I think there's 1 week where they end up playing 3 games in the space of 7 days. So it's a bit of a gauntlet, and it's got to start here.
And I mean, they have to start with a win as well. They would love to be able to start to try and get themselves climbing back up towards playoffs. But unfortunately, you got to try and take down the opposite team, and they're just as desperate as you are. So honestly, coming into this is a moment where LGD could defeat BLG, put themselves up that little bit higher in the standings, because I really do like what they brought to the table here. But we'll have to see if BLG can disrupt that.
Very nicely done as we jump onto the Rift for the third and final time in this series. Of course, we do have EDG versus Ultra Prime happening later on in the day. Do not want to miss that. The world champions, reigning world champions, definitely on a little bit of a downward slump, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, it's all about the bottom of the table. Who's going to have the wooden spoon at the end of the year? If you don't know that reference, you got to start watching some rugby.
Well, I don't know how much tussling we're going to get from BLG, but I mean, LGD on the top side are definitely ready to rook. Like, 3 melee champions that just want to brawl post 6, ton of CC coming through from them. Like, this is such a terrifying top side of the map for LGD. But we're going to have to see if BLG can try and use the advantages they have in lanes, right? You've got Naru gets push, Fofo gets push. Maybe you can try and look to like invade and stick Shadow behind on the top side of the map if Khan wants to go for that style. But unless you're able to win out through these lanes early as BLG and try and carry that into the mid game, I think LGD should just be able to sneak this one away.
Have to wait and see. No more hypothesizing, no more figuring out who and what and where. We will see it all happen well before our eyes, as we can see LGD getting some perfect vision pretty much onto the blue buff there of BLG, so they know exactly where Khan is and they know exactly where he's going to be starting.
Sorry.
What?
They can't see it on the stream, but there's a graphic that popped up at the bottom that has like the Shy and Knight, and I think it's like some of the top players in each of the roles, but they just photoshopped off the Shy's arm. His front arm just doesn't exist.
They need to give him some kind of a handicap before he, otherwise he's going to take over the league.
Yeah, they just decided to Photoshop off his arm entirely. I'm like, it's the front arm as well, so it's very obvious that it doesn't exist. It's just bizarre.
Interesting Photoshop. So I'll always remember when we had Goldberg on for a guest cast, and I don't know what the Photoshop artist did to his face, but it was not human at the end of that. It was not a human at the end of it all. But Sally, we miss you, Goldberg. Hope you're doing well in the LEC and the LFL. Hope you're having fun. But yeah, we come back into this game, and for LGD, we kind of expect this, we've seen it a million times over. The bot lane will get the push. It's not really anything too surprising. And this is where we like to see what they can do with that push, is that you generally get a good early... Ooh, gonna have to pause myself as Shadow... Be able to put himself behind this secret agent Shadow now, putting himself in a great position. Bin thinks he's safe, but with Ignite now on Chalitza, this is terrible for Bin. He just needs one more auto attack on top of him. He should be able to get himself the passive down. There it is. He's not even going to flash away. He knows what's happening. First blood to LGD. Really creative from Shadow.
Yeah, the quick gank coming through, 3 camps into top side. Really nicely orchestrated by Shadow. We'll actually just spot the Khan will be taking the Scuttle Crab as he starts to roam around, so now knows where Khan is, but can just go towards his blue, finish clearing out. Although Khan,
no, he's been spotted.
thinking of going in. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if this is the the game plan. Chalitza is low on mana in the top side, so maybe he thinks he just wins out.
Yeah, oh, it's going to be a straight up scrap now as the blue buff helping out BLG junglers. They try and make this one work, but the decoy's there. There's a lot of extra bodies here in a 1v1, but it ends up being the smite coming out now, and Khan's in a lot of trouble. He gets caught out, and he flashes away, but why would you? Because they can flash after you.
Yeah, that was really weird from Khan. Like, didn't have the smite because he smited the Scuttle Crab to take it, but Shadow like had smite. Like, you have to know he has smite because he just made a play top, so wouldn't have had the smite come back off cooldown. So Khan making a pretty big boo-boo there, trying to contest, and Shadow turns it around. Just really good heads up play from Shadow to realize that he had the smite advantage there.
Priority from bot lane means that LGD can cover off the Scuttle take here on the bot side, so that's going to be probably taken here by the side of Shadow as well, so you got double Scuttle as well. And this is just a very strange thing. This is what you were talking about the new players coming in from the LDL. Very green. It's like, yeah, this might work in the LDL, but you're in the LPL now, my friend. You cannot just take these trades expecting people to back off.
Yeah, and smart play here from Shadow. Like, obviously, one, we talked about him understanding that he had the smite advantage, but two as well, you see how long he waits on the decoy, and it looks a bit funky, but he's actually waiting for his Q to come back up off cooldown. So he gets the decoy then uses the Q slam down as well, and he's getting a ton more damage off and able to turn that around. And especially because he's got the auto attacks coming through from the clone as well, it stacks up the Conqueror, stacks up his passive incredibly quickly, and Shadow's able to turn that one around.
Well, Khan just going to see the Shadow took away the Scuttle. Now that he knows he's there, Shadow's just waiting here. Knows that he can take a fight because he's just stronger, and it's going to be two monkeys versus a dead king out for revenge. As Jin Zhao now coming in here with the Lulu. This is a 4v2 actually right now. Shadow does not have flash, and actually Shadow went a little bit too far forward. The rest of BLG collapsed. Very nicely done there, and that was a little bit overzealous there from the LGD jungler.
Yeah, Asim was still trying to crash the wave in bot, so he wasn't able to come across. You just had the quicker response coming through from Crisp, and Fofo always having party in mid means that he can come across as well. So, kind of tip for tat now on both junglers as Khan is able to get a kill back for himself, and Shadow will have to, with his head down, do the walk of shame to his own topside jungle.
Yeah, a bit of a slap on the wrist and walk with his tail between his legs all the way back and say, I'm very sorry, I won't let it happen again. But again, this has kind of been the story of the series, is that, you know, we have to, again, have expectations for these teams. That it hasn't been exceptionally clean. It hasn't been dominant from either side. There are mistakes available to capitalize on from both squads, and I think that now is more than ever that you're going to try and maybe make this one work. As Jin Zhao, ooh, buddy, you got a little bit too close to the sun there, almost got burnt.
Yeah, definitely apt with the Infernum doing a ton of damage there, but still though, Ryze going to need to reset. Asim should be able to push in. They're aware that Khan is on the top side of the map, which is why Jin Zhao and Asim are kind of happy to stick around here for a little bit longer. May give them a turret play, but Ryze is staying underneath this tower just to catch the wave, which is a bit peculiar, I will say.
I mean, if he does stay, if they can stop the recalls, didn't quite stop off Jin Zhao's one, so he goes back, picks himself on Ionian Boots of Lucidity. But yeah, this was a little bit of an interesting. It's always curious to me, the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, because that they only exist because of an in-game Riot Dev tournament. We could have had armor pen boots, but no, we got cooldown boots because it was Noxus versus Ionia. But we're not going to talk about that. Let's not talk about that.
Well, this is why cooldown reduction is so valuable. For when you miss really important abilities, they come back up quicker. So I'm, for one, glad.
There's always a silver lining. There's always a silver lining. I say, you know what, Dagda? I even came in today saying, you know what, maybe I've been a bit negative recently. You know, maybe I'm being a bit too down in the dumps about certain plays.
Silver linings. You know,
you are the ray of sunshine I needed.
But unfortunately, YG doesn't have ability hate boost yet, so it's just a bit of a sad time.
But the concept is there.
Yeah, in the abstract, it'll all be good. But if Fofo goes for the play, oh boy, and is he looking?
Yeah, he is looking indeed. We will see the dragon started up here. Khan is in the area, should he want to try and contest this one, but very difficult when you don't really have the priority in the bot side. So we'll wait to see now where they want to go with this particular play. And Khan, yeah, I think he just got to back away from this one here. Just giving a free gold to Jin Zhao and get him closer to getting his item finished up.
Again, though, like, this is going to be pretty big advantages for LGD. You're getting these early dragons, which is nice. I feel like with the control that they have here, just not even from lanes, I just mean with the really good skirmishing power they have from their top side of the map, they should be able to get Rift out, and you can see them already starting to move over towards that objective and establishing control on that top side for it. Maybe even with Chalitza looking for a gank onto Fofo.
Well, they can't steal away Fofo's ult again, but they can get their own ult in. That's going to give that ghost away. Yeah, once you get the little animation that says, by the way, you get to proc the auto attack passive now from Sejuani, that's going to give up what you're trying to do. So kind of another reason why we don't really see the Sejuani working that well in the jungle anymore, why she's kind of found her home in the top side, is that she's great when you have someone come in with you, but when you're trying to make something work out like that, it's very difficult to actually make it stick.
Yeah, I mean, she also just gets bodied in the jungle by every meta pick at the moment. Like, faster, clear,
itself.
1v1. Yeah, it's not great. But Shadow now, we talked about this, should have help in the top side, but because Chalitza went for his roam mid, not always in a position to help. Chalitza trying to find Bin, and you can see how much respect BLG are giving to this topside 3v3 because it's triple melee with Sejuani, Cyclone available. Yeji going to be able to steal away things like Bin's ult as well. You have to be so careful.
Oh, Fofo doesn't get caught by anything.
Wow.
It was a comedy of whiffs, and he gets himself away, and LGD not quite able to capitalize on what could have been a very overextended mid laner.
Yeah, still though, you got to be careful now as LGD because Rise pushing in bot, Fofo actually getting priority in mid because he's in Azir, so you're not having a huge amount of pressure to try and help out Shadow. Shadow is on the objective, but look at where Nara is. Nara gets to roam across now towards Rift Herald. You've got Khan there as well. Like, you're losing it across the board here as LGD.
They really are. Now Bin and Khan going to try and find themselves in a 2v2, but it's actually a 1v1 at the moment as Bin goes in. He gets the flash in on top of this one here. He tries to make this one work, and he does just that. Shadow flashes back over to safety as Fofo was roaming up, and that's just honestly just a really bad force from LGD. You did not have the priority, and now Khan onto Shadow. Shadow gets himself a nice bit of health, but will it be enough to keep him alive? He will have the decoy in 2. What?
No way!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! That was almost perfect. It was almost perfect.
So close. Red buff and the burn though from the red smite, gonna be able to take him down. Nice attempt from Shadow. They get the flash, which I gotta say worked out pretty well, but yeah, LGD completely missing their timing window on that top side play means that BLG get the kill. They haven't taken the Rift Herald though, which I'm kind of surprised at. That could have been a fairly sizable objective, but both are gonna have TP to come back in. Maybe they're just waiting on Bin to get advantage in top side as well with the push.
Man, I wish that play worked from Shadow.
Yeah.
That would have just been such a big brain play. But yeah, let's look at the replay here. And again, look at the minimap. You don't have priority in top. You don't have priority in mid. Trying to take this Rift Herald just feels greedy.
Yeah, you have a certain window that you can work off with where the waves were. Because top was pushed out and mid was pushed out, the bounce back was always going to be coming. And Fofo able to push in mid. You have the fact that Bin stayed in top side as well, means that he gets the push out. So LGD, because they tried to group and force these plays that didn't work, meant that they didn't really have the advantage. They needed Khan as well. Well, let's be fair, Khan did get duped. Shadow just didn't have the health bar to survive.
Flash down, and now the Rift Herald being taken here by LGD, and like you said, the Rift Herald wasn't taken by BLG, so despite them taking the fight, they won't get themselves the objective, and that means that Shadow can pick that one up very nicely for himself. It is a Divine Sunder diff right now in the jungle, as we can see there. Oh, flash for flash, but he lands the Abscond Abduct, and now Fofo, he's actually going to deliver Yeji right on top of him, but here comes Jinzhao to try and keep his mid laner alive. The Ignite is ticking, and Jinzhao picks up his prize. Very nice roam there from the LGD support, keeps that in LGD's favor.
Crisp a little bit late on the roam, and now Aston trying to see if he can go toe-to-toe against BLG's Rise, but got to back away. LGD find one and getting the Rift Herald as well. Means that they might be able to transition this pressure off of Jinzhao's reset into a bot side play, but they need to be quick because Crisp wants to look for the dive.
Oh, they've already taken a tower shot there onto Rise. Here goes Crisp to try and maybe make this one work. The cleanse and the flash still available. He cleanses, he flashes away from the Moonlight Vigil.
Wait,
Rise will stay alive, but they had to use a Devour, and yeah, this is... Oh, no, nowhere near. Never mind. I got a little excited, but it was not quite close enough.
I mean, has stopped the resets. Can Yeji get in here in time? No, it's not going to be, but I mean, the fact that Yeji is here, I thought I was going to... I saw Shadow rushing bot and was like, yes, the big brain. You got the Rise out of the bot lane. You got your mid lane here. Let's go for the tower take, but it's not going to be the case as Shadow a little bit late to the party with the route that he took. And now Fofo and Crisp are here to clear out the wave.
Yeah, little bit unfortunate there for BLG not quite able to make that one stick. Dragon is now live on the map. We do have a Gale Force now for Rise. The Rift Tower going to be dropped now into the mid lane to try and get this tower down, but you can see that how difficult it is for Yeji to just kind of defend this wave. He'll just pick up the tower plates. Actually, no tower plates will go over to him. Asim, why are you still here? Why are you still here, Asim? There's no necessary reason for you to still be in this bot side. He will get the shield.
Oh!
No wild growth just yet. It was a couple of seconds off. He finally has it for Jin Zhao, but the kill goes over there to BLG, and they'll get themselves a dragon as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Asim was just sticking around to get enough gold for the Kraken Slayer group combo, but gets caught out. Dragon goes to BLG, kill for Fofo, and these are the small mistakes that are going to help BLG really get into this game, because again, they do have decent late game scaling, and it's about LGD trying to play around this like mid game spike with Chalitza, Shadow, and Yeji, and because Jin Zhao is part of Asim on this Jinx, it means that he's going to provide a ton of extra damage where Jinx really shouldn't be able to deal damage at these early stages, particularly with this Kraken Slayer build. So if BLG can continue putting pressure like this and getting turrets and extending the gold lead like they have at the moment, they can actually take this game.
Yeah, absolutely can. And it's all going down to execution, which I'll be honest, hasn't been the most exceptional thing from either of these two teams in this particular series. But again, an opportunity to take a win, you know, get yourself up to 3-6 for BLG, keep hopes of a playoff berth alive, and you know, maybe not living, but definitely surviving is probably a better way to put it. As LGD, they honestly just need something to go their way, because it doesn't really get that much easier. Asim, yeah, you're dead, buddy. Not really much you can do about that.
So I think Fofo misheard you. He heard that LGD needed something to go away, and he just unfortunately put it towards BLG and not towards LGD. It was just, it's an honest mistake, you know. It's an honest mistake.
It's miscommunication. That's honestly my fault. You know, I apologize to LGD. And
just put it in writing next time. It just avoids a lot of this, you know.
Yeah, you can put the commas in so they can tell what you mean. You know.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
the
the panda that eats, shoots, and leaves, but it's actually you put the comma in the wrong space, so he eats, he then shoots up the restaurant and then leaves.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my god!
Have you not seen that book?
I've never seen that or heard.
Oh,
of
it's
that
a
one
book
before.
about grammar. Sorry, for people that don't get it, it's a pretty famous book about grammar. It's called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves, and it's about a panda who gets it wrong because he reads that he eats, shoots, and leaves, but the comma's in the wrong spot, and yeah.
Yeah, I know the one about your Uncle Jack, but we won't talk about that one.
Oh, God.
That's the one I'm aware of. A little bit less friendly for broadcast, shall we say, as we can see that Khan cannot get himself caught out just now, as the dragon not even close to being taken up. Actually, just a bit of an ARAM happening right now, with both side lanes being taken up by. Actually, the mid laner's going top laner's going bot, as the turrets are starting to fall down in this early stage of the game. It is only one tower to none, actually about a 3,000 gold lead here for BLG, and they're kind of continually putting down the pressure. This mid lane gap is becoming pretty significant. Yeji going to find himself in a lot of trouble, but that being said, what was that engage there from Khan? You're going to get true vision from the tower. I think he thought he was being sneaky.
He didn't even engage. Khan just kind of went in. I was scooped out of the way. It was like, oh no, don't mind me. You know, my car's over here. My car's over here. My bad.
Yeah,
Khan?
Khan. He wanted the turret plate, and now he's going to be flashing away, heartbreakering away. That's a lot of distance to break up between the blast cone and such, but does Asim have the target to try and make it? He does not. Thought he was going to go towards the turret, but didn't call the bluff towards the bush.
Yeah, I mean, look, towers have not been friendly to Khan, and this time around it saved his life. The big thing here, though, is that for LGD, you're buying a little bit of time in the map, get the opportunity to push out these waves, because bot tower already taken by BLG is giving them a lot of control here for Bin, where you can now start to roam up towards mid lane. And you can see LGD were thinking of trying to collapse onto Bin, but not having full push in mid or priority in mid means they can't really go for that play just yet.
Wait to see now what BLG can do. Like I said, they have the gold lead. It's actually getting bigger and bigger by the second. It's going up to nearly 4,000 now. They really are, with the big late game carries of something like the Zir, and of course we see Shadow. He's been caught out though. He's going to try fully engage onto this one here. The decoy comes out, but Khan did hold his route for the very last second. They do land the ultimate from the Sejuani, but it's onto Crisp. He's very tanky, but now Khan has to get the Devour out because he used all of his resources in that last fight. Now Bin coming in, but doesn't have Meganar just yet. Top tower goes down. We start to see now more pressure coming out from BLG. I will say, though, Yeji getting the best ultimate in the game for Silas, able to steal off the Gnar ultimate.
It's just really weird positioning from Shadow when he didn't have the Cyclone. I kept waiting for the Cyclone to happen. I was like, oh, it's actually just not up and available. So now you don't have Chalitza's ultimate for the Rift Herald, which is up. You don't have Chalitza's ultimate for the Dragon, that's also available. And Cyclone will be back up. So just weird timing from LGD to try and make that play happen. And you can see for BLG, they're perfectly happy to give up Rift Herald positioning. They're just going to look to instantly burn down this Dragon as it spawns and then rotate back mid to try and catch the inevitable Terror play that's going to be coming through from... Oh, I thought they're actually going to use the Rift Herald play mid to try and crack on that turret. But instead, they're just going to rotate top and give that gold to Asim.
I mean, they need gold. That's it. Just
Yeah,
LGD, just not taking turrets.
Yeah, the thing is, though, like, so the Rift Herald takes top tower. Rise gets to push in mid and potentially take that mid tower, and you should still be able to defend the top, although BLG have sent a lot of people up towards this top side, so maybe you can contest the mid lane play, but with Bin rotating, like, this is what I mean, is like you actually get to trade tower for tower as long as Bin goes mid, but it looks like he's not interested.
Yeah, a lot of different things to kind of come up from that one there. So we see Chalitza actually getting the red buff here. Now Yeji coming in with the stolen Gnar ultimate. He's going to be able to push them in. That's another ex-Smithy play coming out here as the Sejuani does end up falling down. Both top laners end up dying as Khan tries to make some use out of the Sejuani himself. But a one-for-one trade. And again, like we said earlier, this is not V5 versus top esports. These are two teams that are going to be scrappy. They are going to be making some mistakes. So there's always an opportunity to try and turn around these fights.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that they weren't quite able to get as much back there for BLG. So kill for kill, LGD get top tower. And maybe spotting out a few members of BLG and River here. But, I mean, BLG having 3 dragons, the third dragon going to be like post 25 minutes as well, means that they're going to be in a really good spot. Sorry, just before 25 minutes. Means that they'll be in a decent spot with their items to actually go for these fights. And you can see 2 items across the board for BLG. They should be fine. Chalitza here does steal the red, but then ends up having to give his life. And you kind of called it the whiff on the ultimate here. Means that he doesn't quite get onto Bin. So being able to get a good amount of damage off. I mean, look, there was a lot of ultimates that went wide in that fight. Coming through from the Sejuani ultimates, but either way, bit of a all over the place, I will say, in that one.
Yeah, bit fun, shall we say. Definitely opportunistic at the best of times. But Phantom Dancer and Lord Dominic's regards have been finished up for Asum and Rise, respectfully. They are starting to get up to those big carry points. We're starting to see 2 items across the board pretty much for everybody. We see the Rylai's Crystal Scepter here for Fofo, so those auto attacks from those Sand Shoulders will be making some decent headway to kind of slow people down and make some work if someone does end up stepping too far forward. But with 3 minutes of the next dragon spawns, Baron live on the table, we should probably just see some ping-ponging aways. But these teams, they might see an opportunity. Again, like we said, you got to find opportunities as best you can. They have found one, but Shadow got himself away.
Yeah, I think BLG using their mid priority to try and establish vision on bot side is going to be really key. It gives Bin the opportunity to push in that wave. It means they have maybe some moments here where they can try and collapse onto the mid lane as well as a 5-man unit. But I think the synchronization a bit off here for BLG because Bin wasn't actually on that bot side. But Shadow might be caught out regardless.
Yeah, he's got the decoy, should be able to get himself over the back of the pit. And back themselves away from this particular side of the jungle. But like you said, they're just kind of getting themselves in position, putting themselves in opportunities where they might be able to catch someone. And honestly, BLG are happy to kind of just keep stacking now in this mid lane. You want to try and maybe deal with this Gnar, but the only one who can really, quote-unquote, deal with him is going to be G, because he's got himself that Zonya's. Yeah,
waves pushing on either side, though, means that BLG can contest this.
Oh, they're going to go straight in there on top of Khan, who gets himself devoured. The Cyclone comes out. They got a nice stolen Gnar ultimate, but Bin actually pushed himself away. That Moonlight Vigil was huge right there from the side of Rise, and they get themselves 2 kills. Again, LGD commit to a play, and it's BLG who just execute better.
Yeah, Crisp saved Khan, which made that engage absolutely nullified. Really good play from Khan, because he knew that he had the help from Crisp there, so was willing to take the ultimate so it didn't enter the rest of the team. And now BLG off the back of that will get Baron. Just great execution here from BLG on having side lanes pushed, threatening the mid turret. Like, look at where the waves are for LGD as they go for this. Top completely shoved in, so they know they have to make something happen, but BLG tanks the ult. Khan tanks the ult, Chris comes in, and then Moonlight Vigil from Rise here. Absolutely huge, and this is what we are waiting to see from the LDL prospect coming up to the main stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw his opportunity and really capitalized on it as well. And honestly, for BLG, that was just honestly really good kind of target prioritization. They just said, look, if we can just get the Tam Kench out, despite Yeji getting a really nice abscond abduct to get him in position to get a good Gnar ultimate, it didn't matter because no one was hit against the wall. No one was stunned. It just kind of shoved them away. And then they just flashed away. Actually, the only one who actually flashed was Fofo. And then you lost no other summoners.
Yeah, and now you got Baron, so being threatening on the bottom side, Chalitza can't really deal with this. You've now got to push in mid as well, where Asim is all on his own here. Definitely needs some help.
Why are you pushing top lane, Silas? Yeah, gee, get yourself down here. I understand you probably feel like you cannot defend this one at the moment, so you might as well get something on the board, but I don't know. This feels like he's going to go for something, but it's not really going to work out.
Third Dragon as well, going to be picked up by BLG off the back of this, so trying to see if they can play for turret plates, but Bin might have overextended here.
He's definitely a little bit overextended. Does not have flash. Doesn't have Mega Gnar just yet either. There's the Cyclone coming out, but you got the Tam Kench coming in. But the Devour, he's got a flash available to him should he need it. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Neta TP coming in. He's going to have Mega Gnar for Bin coming out here as well. They do lock up Shadow. And Shadow tries to back himself away, but there was already a Scryer's Orb going over on him, so he's not going to be able to be sneaky this time around. And honestly, BLG nearly getting themselves up to about 9,000 gold up. And honestly, they can keep going. Yes, you lose a tier 2 in topside, but they could crack up on the base. Honestly, they could end.
Yeah, 25 seconds on Shadow. Yeji now going to reset, which means they won't be able to end, but Inhibitor down on bot side. They fall back for the Dragon. Shadow's not there. I mean, yeah, they can go for mid as well. Like, there's a ton of options here for BLG, and that mistake there without Yeji in position means that BLG capitalized so heavily.
Yeah, and you get the stolen Gnar ultimate here, but 2 inhibitors down now. You back up as BLG, and honestly, I think LGD, you have to fight at this Dragon. You got to go for it. You got to try and look for something, but you can see already.
Look at Bin, though. Look at Bin.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at Bin. He does have flash available, and we'll be going into Mega Gnar. Honestly, I think the LGD, you got to go for something. You got to try and make this one work, as Bin finds himself the ultimate. The Moonlight Vigil goes completely wide, but Fofo is untouched and undeterred, just putting out Sancho on the backside of this. Asim goes down. It's a trade of 80 carries. Finally, Chalitza goes in, so it's a tough for pot in the trade. 2 for 2. Eventually, the Silas falls down, as the rest of LGD just aren't in a position to try and fight this.
Now Khan trying to chase down will get Jinzhao off the back of this as well. So, oh, well, maybe Jinzhao playing around with his food a little bit. Not quite able to kill the Lulu, but will be the Dragon going over to BLG. A nice attempt from Yeji to kill out Rise on the backside of the fight, but Khan now 5-1 and 3. You've still got Fofo here. Is huge on this Azir. There's nothing that you can do.
Yep, Neiman Jinzhao just trying to run away as much as he can. He actually gets away from this one here. They think he's gone to the right because they had wards all the way to the left, but Jinzhao gets himself out. Very sneaky man himself. Steals 1-0 and 2, preserving that perfect KDA. As yeah, this was just great from Bin. Just really sets it up. Unfortunate, though, that Rise's ultimate completely misses, but it didn't matter at the end of it.
Yeah, Asim does get a good flash away in the backside, but Crisp actually managing to get the knock up onto the LGD 80 carry means that you have lost a ton of your damage in this fight. And Fofo, although you see the Rise fall, Fofo is still in position here to carry on these fights alongside Khan. So more damage available on BLG's side. And just unfortunate that LGD couldn't use that mid-game spike we're talking about with this top side to put themselves into a more favorable position. Now you've got the late game from BLG here with the Aphelios, with the Azir, and they're happy to continue pushing this game forward.
I mean, that's why we said it. That's why I said, you know, LGD, they had to take a fight there. I don't think there was really much of a choice, because if they let the Dragon go over, they would have died a death of 1,000 cuts, and now they got 2 kills back on top of it, but it wasn't really going to be enough. As we can see now, Khan getting fully engaged upon, but he's a Viego. He's going to have the survivability, and you can see Fofo almost kills off Shadow. They don't quite get the tower in topside, but just going to have to wait for one more wave as Yeji, he's waiting. This is his opportunity. This is the only thing he can do right now that could make it work. They haven't spotted him out just yet, but he doesn't have perfect vision of where they are either. Yeah,
he needs to figure out where Fofo or Bin is, but here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, G finds himself. There's going to be Fofo's ultimate taken away. He does get the knockback here on top of Khan, but Khan gets devoured. That's going to be the 3rd time there. As you can see, Fofo says, this is how you do an Emperor's Divide. And that is setting up the fight perfectly for the side of BLG. It took a while, but they finally find themselves in a perfect position, and they'll take the series 2-1.
Yeah, BLG find the fight. Unfortunate miss from Yeji on the abscond abduct means he doesn't get to safety, but there is no safety from BLG. That's the towers falling, and that's the Nexus going.
That is the series. BLG now 3-6 on the scoreboard there. Again, not exactly ideal, but definitely an awful lot more positive. And for a team that's making so many changes, we can start to see certain things come together for this roster.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think there's a lot of room to grow on this roster.
For sure.
Definitely think looking at Rise, Doggo seems like the better option. Honestly, I don't understand why they tried to swap out Doggo in this scenario. I feel like Doggo was kind of your